Okay, hello everybody, it's Matt Feldmann here. It is January 7th, 2021, and we're doing our IC topic chats. This is an interesting topic for me because a couple of reasons. Number one, I love those end of the year top 10 lists. And so this, I thought I'd create that, but I didn't get to do the end of the year one because we wanted to give space for the end of the year for Gail Barrington. When she said she would do it, I said, well, yeah, whatever you want, Gail, you're welcome to come join us. So I thought I'd want to do a top 10 list, but at the other end of things, here we are at the start of the new year. It's the first week of the new year. And I wanted to give some encouragement to those people who maybe, I want to start anew this year. And I'm sure there are people out there thinking about their consulting practices. Maybe you feel like you want to start doing something new. And I thought, well, I'll give some advice. So, and plus the word random, that comes from my daughter, who everything is random to her. Like, that is so random, Dad. So I thought I'd just incorporate that because that was hilarious to me. Yeah. You know, 15-year-olds. By the way, Helen Keller does exist, or did exist. Don't ask me why, but apparently they feel like Helen Keller didn't exist. Don't go on TikTok. Helen Keller, I can say conclusively, she lived. She was alive. But she did exist. Look it up. All right, so IC topic chats, 10 random pieces of advice for new consultants. This will go as long as it goes. I won't go too long though. First piece. Persistence is greater than genius. This is actually going to be the topic for my conversation in February, which is about passion. And I didn't take the time, and I will do it before my February session, but if you have passion towards a lukewarm idea, that's going to go much further than a lukewarm passion towards a really great idea. It's the people who sit down and just go at it day after day after day with focus that those are the people that are successful. They make things happen. Your genius idea, if you're not committed to it, it's not going to go anywhere, or very rarely will it go anywhere. And I put in a little Calvin Coolidge quote in here. Pay attention to your wellness, sleep, exercise, and nutrition. So I put in this random quote, because we're random today, that I'm curious if anybody can figure this out. If anybody knows this, put in your suggestions on who you think this quote is from in this in the chat box here. I found each time that when I'm active, this person says, I'm much better than if I'm just lying about and feeling sorry for myself. Feel free to put anything in there. I'm going to give you another hint. This very successful person who recently passed away. Ooh, there's another hint. Growing up in the typical environment where the boys played the sports and the girls watched, or in her case, twirled batons, this famous American started working out only later in life as a means of advancing her recovery from cancer. That was when she started lifting weights and doing squats and arm presses, toning her arms, chest, leg, back, shoulders, glutes, and abs. By 2017, when someone asked her who was the most important person in her life, she joked that it was her trainer. So let's see who that person is. I think I saw it, RBG. There it is. And I've got this, if anybody cares to see the link is there. Okay, there we go. It's a great article, by the way, and it seemed so appropriate that I was looking back and that I saw that. But the truth is, she realized to continue going as strong as she did late in her career, she needed to stay physically active, and I absolutely agree with that. But it's not just about lifting weights, which I think is a fantastic idea, or cardio. It's also about sleep and eating right. You need this. There will be times when you just need to work your ass off. And then that's something that you're going to see later in this presentation. But you need to pay attention to these things. Be present for your clients. I've been saying this since the day one. We as evaluators, not me, but a lot of us like to just spend time with their computers. They want to hug up their data sets and do their work and put their head down. But oftentimes, it's the new opportunities for independent consulting happen because you spend time visiting with your clients. You go and see them when we can, in fact, go and see them. But you show up to their meetings, you're on their Zoom calls when you don't need to be, because it's that time in between the scheduled activities when the new opportunities arise, totally organically. And this is true. I hear this over and over again, and I've seen it, I've witnessed it. That's when that new idea comes alive. Make yourself invaluable. This is about real networking, right? This real networking, according to Keith Ferrazzi, happens when you make yourself really valuable to other people. We do this with our clients because we're doing fantastic evaluation work. If you're a subcontractor, you're finding ways to make your prime contractor super happy with what you do. If you work for somebody, you find ways to take activities away from them so that they have more time to work on new and different things. As program evaluators, we do fantastic work to make our programs understand what they're doing right or what they're doing wrong. And when they're doing things really well, we're able to show that in ways that becomes public relations material. We are not public relations professionals. Some of us might be, but that's not the way I look at my role. But I am perfectly happy when I put together a fantastic evaluation and I see that my clients are doing fantastic work, that they take that and they use that. They use it for grant proposals, but by becoming invaluable to your clients, they are inspired to work with you over and over and over again. So I'm invaluable to my clients because I bring the proposals, I bring the possibilities to them. I connect my clients to one another so that they can create new opportunities that they never imagined. And that's the big idea. Okay, back on a practical piece. Get a separate checking account and a credit card. This is super important. You're going to have a lot of interconnected finances. Don't get your personal finances connected with your business finances. Just completely separate it. This is super simple. This is the simplest suggestion I can make for you today. Get a wholly different credit card. And I have a big project now. We're getting a whole new checking account and a whole new credit card just for that one project because it's so big. And I don't want any problems connecting between those two. It's all going to have to be audited. You, as just a small, at the earliest days, it's one of the first things I did after I, actually, as soon as I got my business permit to do I was still doing business as a sole proprietor. I started up and I got my own checking account. I did it at the bank and they required a whole bunch of paperwork. I went out and I got that checking account and I got that credit card just to keep things separate. Remember this next piece of advice. This is totally true. Your competitors can also be your best friends. We are working in a strange business. There's not a lot of us. And if you're here today, you're one of the best because there's a lot of real, not so great evaluators out there who don't know what they're doing. They don't even identify themselves as evaluators. Frequently, they're social science researchers who are doing something else and they just happen to pick this up and they think, oh, I can make a bunch of money at this on this consulting thing on the side. Well, unless they're thinking about this and you guys are here, your competition, those are your colleagues, your local affiliates, your TIGs. Those are where you're going to find people who are willing to support you and help you find your way in this world of evaluation. And at certain times they will be in competition with you. But I think oftentimes if you're willing to collaborate with them, even if you're willing to open up to them, they're going to open up to you. Down the road, you probably find yourself working together. Trust your gut. I love this Malcolm Gladwell quote. If you haven't read this book, Blink, you should. There can be as much value in the blink of an eye as in the months of rational analysis. Understand his book. He also talks about in this book about not trusting your gut because you don't have a basis in an understanding for what you're doing. But if you've been doing this for a while, if you've got your quote unquote 10,000 hours, that you are a professional in this business, you know what you're doing, at a certain point in time, there's going to be a little voice in your head that says, you shouldn't work with that client. You shouldn't take that project. Or on the other end of things, I don't know why this is going to work out, but I've got a feeling this is going to work out. I'm going to work my ass off on this. I'm going to make this happen. So you do need to allow yourself to just work in magical ways and understand that you've been doing this for a while and you just need to go in a certain direction and just trust your gut. Back on a practical piece, yes, you need insurance. Right before I got on this call today, I was re-looking through my workers' compensation because I needed to make sure my new employees were on there. You need this insurance. Minimally, you need a general liability policy. It costs you a couple $100. You can get it from, I suggest you go to an insurance broker because they can get competitive rates. If you go to State Farm, they're only going to give you the State Farm rate. I don't know if it's going to be competitive. You'd have to do the work to go down the street to Allstate and the other places and Farmers and all these places. You go to an insurance broker, they will get competitive rates for you and they can find you the best rate. But you definitely need general liability. And at a certain point, once you get contracts over above $10,000, it depends on who you're working with. If you work with a government organization, they typically have this built into their contract with you that you need to have certain levels of insurance that are professional liability, sometimes called errors and omissions. Believe this, good evaluation is good marketing. I think I said that earlier. If you're doing good work, you're actually marketing yourself to your current clients because the majority of where your future projects are going to come from are most likely, and I hear all kinds of percentages, 90% of your new projects are going to come from your current client base. So do really great work, but know that your great work is marketing yourself to those clients, and you're ensuring that you'll have future work with those same people or with their friends or with their colleagues and things like that. So this is just a little graphic that I thought spoke volumes. It doesn't really mean anything to this point other than the fact that it just kind of says, you can understand what's going on here fairly quickly. Plus, it's hilarious to me. I used to live in Houston, Texas, and yes, it snowed, they closed school. Wouldn't even have to have any accumulation. And finally, when inspiration strikes, work your ass off. There are times in our lives when there's not much going on, and I take naps. I don't do as much of that anymore. I kind of miss those days. But there are other times when I just knew there was an opportunity, and I got up early, and I managed that opportunity, and I found ways to work with those clients who were writing grants, and I stayed up late, and I just took that tiger by the tail and I just chased it because I knew there was something there, and it worked out. There are times when you see these opportunities that seem like long shots. It was a long shot for us when we got our big grant. And I actually had several examples of long shots that didn't pay off, but you have to go after some of those long shots. Be smart about it, be responsible, and trust your gut. But when inspiration does strike, when you see there's a real opportunity, and you don't want to get into a habit of working your ass off all the time. But when you see it's there, put things aside and make it happen, because that's usually when the big projects come through. And with that, I'll close off my presentation and remind you that we've got several more sessions coming up. We've got things all the way through the end of February and even into March at this point. I think I've got one after February 18th, actually. Next week, we've got Patricia Steele. And I'm excited about Niles and Svetlana. They wrote the article on international evaluation consulting. That's actually the name of their article. Anybody who's interested in it, I'll send you a copy of it. I'm going to go back and talk about the book Crossing the Chasm and what that means. Naima, she's here today. She can answer questions about this, but she's going to be talking about LinkedIn marketing on February 4th. I'm going to do a special Valentine's Day session on February 11th, which is that first slide about the power of passion. And then very interestingly, Marcella, Robert, and I, and probably somebody else, we need to identify a fourth person. We're going to do a kind of a panel debate on generalists versus specialists in evaluation. So with that, I'm going to pause, stop, and we'll get into